Hello and hi and welcome back to our read through of Narcissu side second. Hope the day is treating you well, however late in the day it is, wherever you are. You could be watching it at night. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's your life. Do whatever you want with it. That's what this game's telling us anyway. And the last time we were together, it was telling us to go to Mount Fuji, so let's just go do it. We're going to go to Mount Fuji. We're staying driven. Like we're actually, well, I mean, that works because we're actually, you know, literally driving. So that all works out. There you go. Okay. It's a good thing I checked because I just noticed that the volume for games was muted. I don't know why I had that muted, but it's not now. From there, we connected onto yet another expressway. Already, since we left the hospital, about 7 hours had passed. The area had completely become a place that seemed to be out in the middle of the mountains. Straight ahead on a sign were the words Mount Fuji Skyline. Most likely, we had already come to a place quite close. And then, that cloudless summer sky was at some point becoming a deep black evening sky. Ooh, it's really starting to come down. When I looked, rain had started to fall from the dark sky. Wait a bit, I'll bring out the top. Man, if it's already like pouring this much, you should have gotten on that a lot faster. Pulling the car to a stop on the shoulder, Himiko-san started to fumble around for something. And then, after waiting a while in the light drizzle, it has a roof. Well, it's not an amazing one. As she answered and closed the left and right windows, the Roadster became like a perfectly normal car. Until now, it had been a mystery as to what was done when it rained. But it apparently took on this form. There you go. Now they got the roof on. Once again, the Uno drove off. The rain had truly begun to come down and obscure the road with pure white. The thick black rain clouds, even though it was still before evening, made it dark enough to let one believe it was night. At a cold sensation striking my head, I looked up at the roof. There were a number of drops dripping down. Oh no, we got a leaky roof! Gosh. Come on, Yuka, get your head in the game. You can't take care of the damn roof too. Sorry, this thing's beat up after all. And just like the words meant, the dripping leaks started. Looking at how the rain was falling outside the window, it didn't look like it would stop for some time. Satsumi, put this on your head. What I was given was a large towel. And as told, I put it on top of my head. And Himiko-san? I'm fine. Besides, I think it's gonna stop soon. And I'm fine too. She probably wouldn't say out loud, but this might have been the only towel. And even if she were worried that I would get wet, at the least I was more worried about Himiko-san herself. That's why I tried to give my towel to Himiko-san. When I did... Stop, Satsumi. Huh? This was different from her usual way of speaking. This was the very strict expression that she'd show occasionally. But then Himiko-san would... It's okay. I'm fine with getting wet. But... However... Make Satsumi catch a cold and I won't have it. Make Satsumi? Just who is she talking to, I wonder? Now it came down harder, the August rain. For some reason, it was excessively cold and still didn't seem like it was letting up. Don't look down on me, alright? I'm not wearing this outfit just for show. As if talking to herself, Himiko-san muttered. I had a feeling this didn't mean physically not getting wet, but instead some different meaning. Throwing up spray, the roadster continued running. Under the endless black sky, it now went from an ordinary road to the Mount Fuji skyline. If you feel cold, just say, okay? I'm fine. With the towel still on my head, I answered Himiko-san as she got wet from the leaks. It'd be better if we took shelter somewhere. Even such an obvious suggestion somehow faltered in the atmosphere. Gripping the wheel was a Himiko-san that was different from usual. It was the first time I've seen a Himiko-san without pajamas. We continued driving. At some point, when the rain had completely stopped, if you looked, there was even the face of a large moon out in the sky. Soon we'll arrive at Fuji-no-Miyaguchi. With those words, we went from a narrow mountain road into a suddenly open area. Finally, the Yunos stopped. Looking around, there were signs for the 5th station parking lot. During this season, I had heard that there were many mountain climbers. Perhaps it was the time and because the weather had been bad, but the area had very few cars around. Here, can do long. It's warm. Thank you. With a tea bought from a vending machine in hand, the two of us ate what remained of the packed lunch. Even cold, it's delicious. In the end, it seemed like we were just spending the night here. But when we set off, she said that this was our destination. Did Himiko-san plan on going even higher up? Still planning on going up? Well, I don't know. While holding a croquette in hand, Himiko-san gave a vague answer. Certainly, up until here, we were able to come by car. According to the parking lot sign, the altitude was already 2,400 meters. But from here on, there were only mountain climbing trails. Even if we weren't planning on heading all the way to the summit, Himiko-san, resident of the 7th floor, couldn't be thought of as being able to climb up a mountain path. And if, even then, she said she were aiming for higher, shouldn't I hold her back? Suddenly, opening the door, Himiko-san stepped out of the car. Just as I was thinking about such things, I also hurried out of the car. When I looked, she was right by the car, looking up at the night sky that had just stopped raining. I was a bit surprised. I had thought that she might have started climbing without saying a thing. Then, perhaps guessing at my unease, Himiko-san began to speak. All right, once before. I said that I had wanted a friend from a different age group, right? Certainly before the pineapple tree, it had been the first thing that she had wanted to try. That was maybe a bit of a lie. A lie? Truth is, more than being of a different age group, because it was you, might be why I wanted to become friends. Himiko-san spoke somehow seriously about what I had somewhat vaguely noticed. The reason was... That's a difficult question. How to put it bluntly? I just got a gut feeling, maybe? Like it ring a bell? Like maybe she reminded you of someone very important to you in your past? That was also something I felt I understood. It was close to the feeling I answered Chihiro-san with. And then before, when I had asked whether she was seeing someone else in me, I was told that half of it was exactly that. Then the remaining half of that reason that had been left a secret at the time, could this be it? Hey Setsumi, can I ask you a question? If a person very close to you was gradually getting weaker, would you want to be nearby the whole time watching that? That is a tough question. Like as somebody that's like even lived through that, I can tell you that it's like you don't want to, but you do. But that's just kind of how I've had to experience it. But it's a very complicated question because I think it's a case-by-case basis, because there's also been one case where no, I couldn't bring myself to be around it. And it was understood. I think people understood. But yeah, like it's different for everybody, I think. And it's going to be different from person to person, you know, in that situation. You know, and who the object of that sentiment is aimed at. Or rather, at a time you didn't know, they died before you realized. Would you want that? I thought about the meaning of that question. I did too, because that was one of the most awful translations I've ever read of a sentence before. And I'm definitely, boy, this, man. The sentiment's still getting across, but again, this translation is, whew. And after thinking seriously in my own way, I don't know. Those were my true feelings. I think I would always want to be by their side. But if I were in the position of leaving, the opposite. By my side, I don't want anyone. That's inconsistent. Exactly. Those leaving and those left behind, never will the two meet. Even if I could bear my own pain, I couldn't bear another's. She wanted to say that, perhaps? The Chihiro-san and the best friend we met at the beach, avoiding them. Then why was I here in this place? Why was I chosen, I wonder? Did Himiko-san want to say that if it was me, then she would be fine? This is, you see, after falling into the hole, something that I first realized. However, no matter how much I shout that it's because there is a hole here, the voices of those who have fallen into the hole can't reach those walking on the surface. That was the reason? That was a... Again, the translation is not doing this story any favors right now. I feel like a lot of the emotional punch is just getting completely ripped out of this scene because we're working from such a stilted and literal translation. Then, did she want to say that because I had fallen into the hole, that voice would reach me? You're different. Eh? You're still in the process of falling. There's a chance that you might climb back up. And when it's impossible?
誰もが自分で考えること。
That's something everyone has to think of for themselves. Then the circumstances now were all the results of Himiko-san's thoughts? After falling into the hole, stopping prayers, and maybe turning them into curses.
パトラッシュはいいわよね。
Really? Patrash was lucky, wasn't he?
大好きなネロと一緒に天国に行けるんだもん。
He could go on with his beloved Nello together to heaven after all.
ネロだって寂しくないわ。
And Nello also wouldn't be lonely. Oh boy. I kind of feel like we know what's coming, right? Like everybody knows what's coming with this this flashback. It's good. Still don't brace yourself for it as much as you want. It's still gonna suck. Even though I was the professor, I couldn't give an answer. At such a time, if I were a real professor, doctor of the church like Augustine or Jerome,
なんと答えれるのだろ
I probably would have answered with something.
う。じゃあ、これだけでも教えて。
Then just tell me this.
神様は
God is
どこ？
where? Huh?
聞こえなかったみたい。
Oh God.
でもお祈りしたの。
Okay. Man. I can't deal with like like kids and unfair things happening to kids. It's like he didn't hear, even though I prayed in the church. Where was God? At that question, my mouth was sealed. I'm sorry.
知らないわ。
I don't know.
博士のお姉さんでも
I see.
ないんだ。
Professor One-san doesn't know either. Then, raising herself from the bed and facing the window,
やっぱり空に
I guess he's above the sky? While speaking, she looked up at the sky, looking up from windows that could only open 15 centimeters at the lightened pre-dawn sky.
ねえお姉さん。
Say, One-san,
私屋上に行きたい。
I want to go to the roof.
屋上。
The roof?
うん。少しでも
Oh,
高いところ
man.
でお祈りしたら
If I prayed from even just a little higher,
聞こえるかもしれない。
maybe I would be heard, right? By
神
God?
様に。ダメ？
I can't?
いい。
No, you can. All right? Supporting the girl, we headed to the roof. Normally, this place was one where patients couldn't go. Were not allowed to go. However, at this time, for me, for the Alois who was unable to do anything other than buy ice cream, for the powerless professor who couldn't answer with anything, there was nothing else that I could do. The blue-purple pre-dawn sky was turning into the white of day, a bleak place where no one could be seen. Once in a while, from the blowing wind, the fence that was taller than the ceiling of the 7th floor rattled.
ここは気持ちいい場所だね。
This place feels nice, doesn't it? She spoke as if whispering to herself, and then from her pocket, she took out the rosary. That was what I had once given her as a present.
やっぱりこれがないと魔法にならない。
Without this, it won't become magic, right? And then, quietly bringing hands together, facing where the sun would rise, she spoke.
皆が生とされますように。
Hallowed be thy name,
私たちを
and lead us not into temptation.
惑わせないでください。
This, too, was what I had taught her before. A number of parts from the Lord's Prayer. However, for this girl, she didn't even know the meaning of the words. Simply words for salvation. As nothing other than magic, that was all she thought of them.
お
One-san, do you think I was heard now? At those words, nodding, or even affirming was beyond me. I just could do nothing but remain silent. It's useless. Perhaps I should have said that. Or perhaps I should have spoken of atonement. Oh, man. You ain't gotta show a picture, too. You ain't gotta... Oh, man! Okay. Or perhaps I should have said, for having lived 8 years, be thankful to God.
ねお姉さんも一緒に
One-san, pray with me? At those words, I silently nodded. I could do nothing but nod. Then, just like the girl who still continued to pray, to that high sky I offered a prayer. The remaining night air, the whitening sky, the cicadas that started to call, common, everyday things of a summer day. From this 7th floor rooftop, I prayed only for the girl. Always, half had been used for forgiving myself, but now, gathering all of it, I prayed only for the girl. Definitely supposed to be listening somewhere. Towards that God, I prayed. Oh, dude, don't. Dude. For some reason, tears came.
どうして泣いてるの
Why are you crying?
いいの別にない
It's fine. Crying. At a time like this, it's okay to cry.
それは誰の言葉イエス様
Those were whose words? Lord Jesus? No. Those were my words. If I were a saint, if my words were not simply for comfort, nor a charm, if they were real magic,
今こそ
then now a miracle. Yeah! Oh, okay. Those leaving and those left behind, no matter how much of a best friend Alois could not become Petrash. Oh, dude. Learning of my own powerlessness. Dawn came to Mount Fuji's 5th station. We got out of the car and took a big
ねえ
stretch.
説明
Hey, Setsumi,
どこにいると思う
where do you think he is?
いきなり何のこと
What's this all of a sudden?
神様とやらよ
God and the like.
さああなたの方が専門家でしょ
I don't know. You're the specialist, aren't you?
そうねそうだったわね
Indeed I was, wasn't I? And then, after a bit of thinking,
やっぱあそこかしら
I suppose over there? As she spoke, she looked up at the sky. The pure blue summer sky stretched on forever.
もっと近づかないと聞こえないのかもね
Yeah, might be that if you're not closer, you can't be heard. Just saying that, Himiko-san started walking towards the climbing paths. I had sensed the possibility, but already the act itself was the same as suicide.
本気なの
You're serious?
禁忌なんでしょカトリックには
It's forbidden, isn't it? For Catholics?
元には関係ないわ
Formers have nothing to do with that. And then, stopping her walking feet and turning around.
悪いわね説明
Sorry, Setsumi.
一言言ってやらないと気が
There's a
済ま
few
ない
things I won't be satisfied with until I say them.
言うって
Say, to whom?
決まってるじゃない神様とやら
Isn't it obvious? To that
Uncle.
so-called God. Some complaints. Complaints? To God? Was she serious?
もしかして それが最後の
Is this the final one? Yep. This is the
これが
final
最後
one.
の一つ
With just that answer, Himiko-san began walking towards the climbing path. Right now, I should be stopping her? Or perhaps I should be giving her back a push. Okay. I mean, I knew we were gonna call back to that moment in the first game. I knew we were gonna call back to the moment where protagonist Kun asked the same of if Setsumi wanted him to hold her back or to push her in. Whew, okay. Because I didn't know which. Just being by her side was all I could do. And God, oh, oh. Mm. The sun had come right above, and unheeding of the altitude, the cicadas noisily cried.
思ったよりきついわね
Okay, this is harder than I thought. We continued on climbing the path. Walk a bit, then rest, walk a bit, then rest. Just repeating that. Occasionally, other mountain climbers would quickly pass us by while we slowly went upwards to the high place that Himiko-san aimed for. Now it was some 2 hours in, and we were making to leave the new 6th station.
大丈夫
Are you alright?
あんまり大丈夫じゃないわね
Not particularly alright. Just as the words meant, her panting was furious. Even when the food and the drinks that we had brought to the shop were being carried by me. It probably didn't need saying, but Himiko-san was a resident of the 7th floor. No matter how healthy she looked, no matter that she didn't need a wheelchair, that was because of her age. Her condition's progression had simply been early. Even without doing anything, there was no mistake that she was within reach of death.
何よその顔は
What's with that face?
言いたいことがあるならはっきり言いなさい
You've got something to say, just say it.
もう帰ろ
Let's go back.
うもっと強く言ってよ
Say it with more force. Eh?
だったらもう帰れって命令してよ
If that's what you want, say go back and order me.
もう帰れ
Go back.
やっぱり従えないわね
Yeah, looks like I can't obey. And then, once again, her feet moved to ascend. Right now, I wonder what I should do. Unable to pull her back, I was only able to be there, helplessly watching?
じゃあ押してあげる
Then I'll push you. That was why I pushed Himiko-san's back. So as to not lose to the steep slope, so as to make it even just a bit easier, in my own way, this was all I could do.
やめなさい説明
Stop, Setsumi!
いやよ
No.
あなたまで具合悪くなったらどうするの
If you get sick too, then what would that do?
私はそんなこと望ん
It's
でいる
not
わ
like I
けじゃない
want
わ
that.
じゃあ帰りまし
Then
ょう
let's go back.
それは
That's... This exchange we repeat over and over. While slowly, Himiko-san climbed up. Eventually, where those feet stopped, that was the time that I feared. At that time, just what should I do? Oh, jeez. Oh! Yeah, I think we're gonna go on. We're gonna continue. We're gonna do it. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, not gonna lie, that whole chapter just raked me over the coals, and I don't think it's gonna get any easier. I don't. It's so dumb for me to be like, let's just keep going. As the orange-stained sky, all unnoticed, turned to the purple of night.
ここでいいわ
This is good. Finally, Himiko-san's feet stopped. We were just beyond the 7th station, perhaps. It was a place with many rocks stretched with many rocky stretches and very wide, wonderful view. Looking at my watch, it was already 3 o'clock in the morning, which meant it was almost an entire day had passed. As expected from the time and perhaps yesterday's weather, there were no other climbers to be seen.
夜明けを待ってここで言うわ
Wait for the dawn, and then I'll say it here. Saying that, Himiko-san began walking towards the edge of the rocky stretch. Peering down the edge of the cliff, it was dark and hard to see. The bottom of the ravine was far enough that you couldn't guess its height. At the least, if you were to throw yourself off, without a doubt, you would not be living.
いよいよ盛り上がってきたわね
Finally, we're getting revved up here, aren't we?
高さも十分なのね
There's plenty of height, too.
ええ7階の100倍くらい
Indeed,
よ
about 100 times more than the 7th floor. Altitude, about 3,000 meters. Also, and also no high fence for protection.
説明聞きたいことがあったら今のうち
Setsumi, if you have something to ask, now's the time. At those words, a number of thoughts swirled. But even though there should have been a number of questions, for some reason, putting each one into words was difficult. So after a moment's thought, I finally opened my
も
mouth.
っと姫子さんのこと
Tell me more
教えて
about Himiko-san. This was also the question that resulted from all of my thinking.
私のことを聞きたいのそれとも私のような立場にあるものの
Do you want to hear
ことを
about
聞きたい
me? Or do you want to hear about someone in my position?
姫子さん自身のこと
About Himiko-san herself.
私はこの世界に5万といるクリ
I'm
スチャン
one of the
の
great
一人
many
よ
Christians in the world.
それ以上でも
Nothing more,
それ以下
nothing
でも
less.
ないわ
But now, she was going to voice complaints to God. That was probably attempting to break one of the greatest prohibitions.
じゃあ以前のフランダースの
Than
この
before,
話
about a dog of
どう
Flanders.
しても3人の中から選ばないといけないの
No matter what, we have to pick one out of the 3 people.
人にそれ以外の選択肢はないわ
Yes, for people, there are no other choices. She firmly said so. The one who was leaving, Nello. The one left behind, Alois. And the 2 will never meet.
じゃあ姫子さんは
Then Himiko-san is... which? Yep. For that question, there was no answer. Little by little, the sky whitened in this place. In this place where it seemed like you could touch the sky, she quietly hung her head. Surely the pajama wearing Himiko-san was Nello. Then the Himiko-san now was probably Alois? To say complaints to God if Nello wasn't allowed to, then that was understandable. Then just who was I? For what purpose was I brought to this place?
どうやら時間が来たようね
Looks really nice. Again, like, this game may be old and it may be of lower resolution than a lot of visual novels today, and a lot of visual novels that I've played on the channel, but this stuff still looks really good. Looks like the time's come. Saying that, Himiko-san looked up at the sky.
説明受け取りなさい
Setsumi, take this. And then, taking something from her pocket, she handed it to me.
ロザリオ
A rosary?
別に捨ててくれてもいいわよ
It's fine if you throw it away.
ただ
It's just,
もう私には持っている資
I
格
don't
な
have
い
the
から
right to carry it anymore, you see? Just what was that supposed to mean? I didn't have to ask to know. However, up until now, even while saying that she was a former, why did she carry it with her all this time? When I thought about it, I felt that deep down, it's not like she really wanted to do this.
本当にいいの
Is it really okay?
祈りがあるなら呪いもあるってことよ。
It means that if there is a prayer, there's also a curse.
やめてほしい。そう言っちゃダメ。
I want you to stop. I can't say that.
理由によるわ。
Depends on the reason. A reason. One to pull her back. Even if Himiko-san herself wished to? Even if she were already a resident of the 7th floor with a closed-off future? If, just like the living, people were given the right to die, then a reason good enough to stop that? Just who would have such a thing? And I don't even know what's right. What would be kindness? For some reason, I began crying. Being nearby and able to do nothing, I came to know how powerless I was. I started to get light, and looking up at the endless sky, I was overcome with sadness. No matter how much I thought, I couldn't come up with any decent reasons to pull her back. If Himiko-san herself had decided that I might not have any right to interfere. But even if it were so, even if I didn't have a reason for why I should pull her back,
だって私も悲しいから。
because I'll also be sad. Not some random person. Because I myself would be sad. Because this me here wanted her to stop. Even if that were just the one-sided ego of the one left behind. Even if I could bear my own pain because I can't bear another's. Because the one leaving being sad meant the ones remaining were pained the most. Moreover, for me, it was still...
アロハは無理だよ。
Alois is impossible.
そんな顔しないでよ。
Don't make such a face.
そんな顔されると私も辛くなるじゃないの。
When you make such a face, doesn't it make it hard for me too? Oh, God. Okay. If I were a saint, if my words were not simply for comfort nor a charm, but real magic,
今こそ
then now a miracle would
奇跡を
happen.
起こすのに。ごめんね、お姉さん。
I'm sorry, One-san.
友達にならなければよかった。
It would have been better if we hadn't become friends. The girl stood before me as I continued to cry, and she apologized sadly.
ちゃんとルールにあったのにね。
There were clear rules about it, too.
ここに来たら友達を作ってはいけないって。
If you've come here, you can't make any friends, they said.
ごめんね。ちゃんと私が守っていた
I'm
ら
sorry. If I had followed it properly,
お姉さんを
One-san wouldn't be
なかったの
crying.
に。
And then, once again, facing the sky, the girl started praying. Facing the high summer sky that stretched out forever, she offered a prayer to the god who was probably out there. At that serious figure, the rosary I gave her in her hand, believing that the simple Lord's Prayer was a magical spell. That figure.
もういいから。もう祈るのはいいから。
Enough! You don't have to pray anymore. Why?
無駄なのよ。
It's useless doing that.
私
Finally. As a Christian, the words that should never be said had finally come out.
だからもうやめて。
So stop! You can't be saved.
どうやっても。
No matter what you do, you'll die. And then, even as a helper, even as Nello's best friend Alois, the words that I must never say came out.
分かってる。
I know.
じゃあ
Then why?
別に私は
It's not that. I don't matter anymore.
泣いているお姉さんが泣き止むように
Just for the crying One-san, for her crying to stop,
早く
to quickly smile like she always did.
それだけを
That's all I want to pray for. Oh, God. Mm.
どうして泣いているの
I'm not crying, you are. What are you talking about? Get out of here, game. Why are you crying? Stupid?
知らない
You didn't know?
こんな時に
At a time like this, it's okay to cry. Oh. Himiko-san cried. In the place where it seemed you could touch the sky, it was the first time she showed me tears. At such a time, what words could I say? Just what would be kindness? Because I didn't know that. Simply so she would stop crying even just a little bit sooner, so that her smile would return even just a little sooner. Patting her back, just gently stroking, was all I could do.
やめなさいよ
Stop that!
中学生にいたわられるほど妙な人生送ってないわよ
To be consoled by a middle schooler. I didn't lead such a pathetic life.
気にしないで病人歴ならあなたより上よ
Don't worry about it. Going by the history of sickness, I'm older than you.
年下のくせに
What's with that? You're the younger one. The blue-purple dawn sky grew white and changed to a sunrise. The wind that began to blow from the valley made a lonely sound. Himiko-san cried. The wind over the ravine also wailed. And I probably, too, was crying. Ugh.
やめるわ文句言うのは
I'm not saying complaint anymore. As she spoke, she faced the sky and placed her hands together.
じゃあこれ返すわ
Then I'm giving this back.
そうねこれがないと効果薄かったの
All right. Without this, the effectiveness would be weaker, wouldn't it? Then she hung the rosary I returned to her neck. From this high, high place to an even higher, towards the sky, she offered a prayer.
よく聞きなさい難聴気味だろうからここまで来てやってみる
Listen well, because you seem to be hard of hearing. I've come all this way to do it.
別に私のことはもうどうで
It
もいい
doesn't matter about me now.
だけど少なくとも私のことで
However, at least because of
い
me,
つまでも心を痛める人がいないようにして
make it so that there are no people who would be forever pained.
そして
And even if it's just a bit sooner, let them recover. As if speaking to herself, Himiko-san coolly murmured. There were a number of other words continuing on, but for me, I couldn't hear what she was saying beyond that. Perhaps Himiko-san had made up with God? That expression was neither despairing nor compassionate. It was proud and could even be considered beautiful. And this was probably, of those two she said would never meet, the one leaving's wish for those left behind. That's all of it. And then she turned towards me.
月並みのお願いで拍子抜けした
So, with such a cliched wish, are you disappointed?
うん
I gave my best. I gave my head a small shake. Even if they were called cliched, if I were in Himiko-san's position, would I have in the same way sincerely wished for those remaining behind?
説明あなたが証人よ
Setsumi, you're the witness.
私が
I am?
もし願いを叶えた時は
If the wish comes out wrong,
次はあなたが
Next
代わり
time,
に文句を言って
you're
も
complaining in my place
神
to
様
God and all that.
それがここに私を
Was this your
連れてきた
reason for bringing me here?
うん
Well,
半分はね
half.
残り半分はやっぱり秘密
And the remaining half, I suppose it's a secret?
そうね
Indeed. Saying that, she thought for a moment.
魔法みたいなもんよ
Magic. It's like that.
魔法
Magic.
え
Yep.
今は効果なくてもね
Even if there's no effect now, definitely later it should work. Once again, under the morning sky, we hit the roads. Within that, with lunch bought from a convenience store in hand, Himiko-san whispered,
とりあえず私もルールに一つ追加
For
さ
now,
せてもらうわ
I'm gonna add one to the rules.
ルール
Rules?
友達は作ってもいい
That it's okay to make friends. Then, taking the rosary from her pocket,
本当はこのロザリオもさあなたにあげてもいい
really, I could have given you this rosary,
まだ
but
私
it
には
looks like I
必要
still
だから
need it, you see? As she spoke, she moved it from her neck to decorate her chest.
だから説明には違うものをプレゼントする
That's why, for Setsumi, I'll give you a different thing as a present.
違うもの
A different thing? Yep,
決め
the
るの
one who
は
decides is you. And now the roadster drove on. From the sloped roads slowly towards the city, gripping the wheel was Himiko-san. Not in pajamas, but the usual Himiko-san I knew. What was different from all the times before was the rosary visible on her chest.
ねえ説明一つだけ言わせて
Hey Setsumi, let me say one thing.
これから先あなたが誰を選んでも
From here on out, no matter who you choose,
最後の最後には心まで殺しちゃダメ
at the very, very end, you mustn't kill all the way to even your heart.
何のこと
What's this about?
いいのよ
It's fine for
今
now.
はねきっと大丈夫最後には笑えるはずよ
I'm sure you'll be fine. In the end, you'll be able to smile. That probably was what she mentioned before. The so-called magic. I know there's one to go, but my heart can't take it anymore. Like, it looks like this is the last one, but my heart can't do it, y'all. I could sit here and try, but yeah.
ここでお別れしましょう
I just saw that line. I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna go away. Nope, I'm out of here. We noping on out. Oh my God, that was a... Okay. That was a tough one. That was, all right. We got through it though. We did it. So, thank you, of course, for stopping by. Hope you have a nice rest of your whatever, wherever you are, and we will catch you next time. Bye.